Okay, it's Tuesday here with Longshore and McKnight. So glad you are with us here today. Brought to you by our good friends at Bama Budweiser and Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. You know me, John Longshore. The other man on the screen is Gurn Sr. Barry McKnight is traveling today with Troy basketball. They are heading to Oklahoma City from the Montgomery Regional Airport. They'll be wheels up in about an hour or so from Montgomery Regional as they head out for Troy in the NIT against Nebraska. So don't worry, don't panic. Barry will be back tomorrow from OKC, where he will tell us about what to expect when the Trojans and the Cornhuskers get together. But Gurn Sr. pinch hitting yet again today. We appreciate it. I don't know if we can afford you.
Well, you got me. Like I said, Barry's no Gurn. That's the way I put it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I would never say. Is it sandpaper and silk? Could it be sandpaper and sandpaper?
Yeah.
Does that rub an abrasion?
I think it'll happen.
All right, John.
Yes.
We are not going to talk about weed today. Okay, weed is not going to come up in our conversation today. I'm just going to promise. If people want to talk about that, you can go somewhere else because that's not going to be a topic of conversation, right?
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but yeah, I think it's going to be a big topic today. And of course, you're speaking of Aiden Holloway. I assume the former Alabama basketball player. He is not on campus anymore. The University of Alabama released a statement indicating that Holloway was removed from campus pending further investigation because of a little incident yesterday morning where the West Alabama Narcotics Bureau, was that around when we were in school? Do they have that? I know they had UPs. I don't remember the West Alabama Narcotics Task Force found more than a pound of marijuana, paraphernalia, and cash in a residence on the 400 block of 30th Avenue East. I spent a lot of time in Tuscaloosa. I've lived on 8th Avenue, 10th Avenue, right off Bryant Drive, right off University Boulevard. I don't know where 30th Avenue East is.
Google it. Google Maps it. I haven't done that. I don't know where his house. I mean, surely he's making jack. He should have a decent place to live.
You would think so. Yes.
Look, it's unfortunate. The word I got, I think, John, you mentioned it, somebody that maybe there was a traffic stop last week and that they might have found something.
Operatives in the field. Actually, there was a photo taken of him being pulled over and arrested by our crack research department. Actually, it was the son of a friend of ours who was heading to class and saw that Aiden had been pulled over by Tuscaloosa's finest. Don't know if it was drug related or not, but I'm going to assume
that obviously led them to get a warrant to come to the house. And
maybe they what is the term they use? They sensed a strong smell of marijuana when they approached the vehicle. I think I've heard that term before.
Well, yeah, but at that point though, that doesn't give you enough. But then if they did come back, either if they found it at the house yesterday, man, dude, get rid of it. Stash it.
Well, my thought process is
that's a lack of judgment.
If you've been arrested or you've been pulled over, let's put it that way, and they might have their eye out on you, you got to move your stash. You got to put it somewhere else. Now, I don't know what a pound of marijuana looks like. I mean, I've seen marijuana in a little Ziploc baggie before. I don't know how much that is. I don't know how much a pound of it is. I don't know how much it weighs. But obviously a pound is a level that you don't want to get to.
I think we know a pound of weed weighs 1 pound.
Sure. How big it is, though, how much it is.
Is it a brick?
How far it'll go. That I can't tell you.
Sure.
Certainly when you put it on the scales, it's going to say a pound. But how many joints can you get out of that? How much weed can you smoke? Don't know. Paraphernalia, I'm assuming, is bongs and dugouts and rolling papers and I don't know, scales, I guess. The cash, I'd like to know how much cash was there, indicating that he's selling this merchandise. Where I've really become confused, and maybe the lawyer and you can help us out with this, I was not familiar with what I'm hearing is a stamp that Aiden did not have some sort of stamp.
So
he's charged with failing to affix a stamp.
So, John, that goes back to my old days. My family was in the wholesale grocery business, and one of the things we sold were cigarettes. And so the way states made money is a sin tax. So we would have to take out cartons of cigarettes and take all of them and run them through a machine, and it'd stamp them. And we pay tax on each carton. I mean, each pack of cigarettes. Okay. So it's like I'm not going to say it's a loophole. It's not the real crux of this. It's some way to show he violated a law that nobody knew existed. Let's get back to, the real.
Let me ask you this though. Then, if you have a substance that is illegal in the state of Alabama, whether it's an ounce, a pound, or one joint, why do you want to come to Montgomery to the revenue department and say, hey, I need a stamp for my weed?
So you can avoid it. Now we're entering an age of medical cannabis. Matter of fact, the medical cannabis board's in my building. I know the people there, fine people, and there've been lawsuits trying to get it regulated and get it out there. Yeah. And so, maybe it has something to do with that. Look, that's not the real crux. The real crux is the weed. And that's just something else they can charge him with. Now, I'm not a criminal lawyer. You know more about criminal law, watching Law and Order than I do in real life. But they booked him, and he got out on $5,000 bail, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And so what that tells me, and don't quote me here. If he was charged with the intent to distribute, his bail would be a lot larger than $5,000.
That's a great point.
Okay,
I'm with you.
Now, I don't know. It's all conjecture. I think he had a pound of weed. So, he had his weed. What's interesting is, back in the day, there were drug tests. Do you ever hear of anybody not passing a drug test?
Gurn, that's a great point. And I thought about that yesterday because I've heard all these do-gooders out there. Oh, Nate Oates has lost his program and, he can't get anything. All these people, Brandon Miller and, Charles Bediaco and now Aiden Holloway's losing his program. Well, he's winning. He's been to the Final Four. He's been to the Final Eight, finished second in the regular season. That's what they're paying him to do. They're not paying him to babysit. And if people out there are naive enough to not to say that it's right, I don't want to go down that road, but there's a reason. I've been saying this for years. There is a reason these schools do not drug test these athletes anymore because they know the result they're going to get. They are all smoking weed. And I say that in a generous term, not every single athlete up there or at any institution, but there's a large group that are, and they know it. And I've had police officers and I've had coaches tell me, we would much rather them smoke weed than drink alcohol.
Well, let's go there.
Because they're rested, they come to practice ready to go, they're not hungover, they're not out driving a car thinking they're Mario Andretti, they're relaxed. I get it. So that to answer your question, that's why you don't hear about drug tests anymore.
Well, let's look at this and let's just be honest about the college culture. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the drinking age? 21.
21.
And bars and restaurants and package stores are vigilant because they can lose their licenses if they sell to underage minors.
Yep.
Okay. So people have fake IDs. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they're good.
Yep.
But for the most part, you've got the drinking age. People who sell weed don't check IDs. So the bottom line is you can get it. It's available. And so it's not, to me, that's where the shift has come on campus.
Yep.
So don't like it or not, it's out there. It's what it is. Now, pounds a lot. I think we can all agree a pound's a lot.
I am told, Gurn, by the River Region Straw chat line that a baggie.
If they'd have caught him with a nickel bag.
Well, I'm told that a baggie is an ounce. That compliment to the River Region Straw chat line. We appreciate that, because I was wondering.
So that's 16. That's 16 baggies, and a baggie's not big. So that's 16 baggies. That's not, a big block of weed or something. I'm just telling you,
I get it.
Look,
yeah.
we're not excusing it. So there has been other reporting, though, John, is that as we know, he will not be with the team at the tournament, right?
Yeah, what the entire tournament, or just against Hofstra?
Well, against Hofstra, we know, but I have some crack reporting from some sources in Tuscaloosa that several fraternities on New Row have invited him over to watch the game. He's now one of the most popular men on campus.
Yeah, they are on spring break, but that's a good one there. And I'm not sure it's just on New Row. There could be some old row houses that might invite Hayden over to watch the games as well. But yeah, I mean, we've gotten a lot of reaction on the River Region Straw chat line, but that's a great question. I've asked it for years. You used to hear about athletes getting busted for failing a drug test. You never hear about that anymore, ever. Now, there used to be a day and age, and maybe it still happens. I'll have to check on this, but before the NCAA tournament, they would drug test these guys or bowl games or something, but I don't even hear about that anymore either. So it seems that these coaches and these athletic departments realize these athletes are smoking weed. And as I said, I've had police officers, I've had coaches tell me, listen, man, these guys get through with practice, get through with school, light up a joint, relax, kind of just wind down. They're going to sleep. They're coming back the next day, ready to go, refreshed, ready to practice. They go out and get drunk. They're hungover. They're sluggish, got a headache, feel like crap, haven't slept. Rather them smoke weed than drink alcohol. That's just what I've been told, even though it is illegal, and I get it. But they know it. They know they're going to do it. Unfortunately, this young man was doing it and got arrested no time is good, but it's a bad time now when his team's heading to the NCAA tournament. He's a big part of that team. He's let his teammates down. He's let his program down.
Well, all right, as a parent, let's look at this. All right, obviously he's let his family down. He's put his money in jeopardy. However, he's going to plead out. He's not going to do any time for this. I mean, I don't know what other offense. If it's a first offense, he may get some other deference there, but he'll have whatever. I mean, he'll have to go on probation or do whatever. But at the end of the day, next year, like he should be able to play again. I mean, that doesn't keep him from doing what he's doing. Now, do you accept him at Alabama? I don't see why not. He's one of yours. He's one of your people. Your people screw up, you get them right. Maybe you put some sort of drug testing in place for him so that, if he gets his money, he has to do the straight and narrow. He's a junior.
I remember this yesterday afternoon or morning when this news broke. David Palmer was arrested twice for driving under the influence of alcohol when he was a football player at Alabama. And Gene Stallings, the head football coach at the time, thought long and hard about what to do with this player. And he came to the conclusion that if I kick him off the team, I'm not. His best avenue is playing football. That is where he is going to prosper. He is going to be a football player. David Palmer, which he went on to play for the Minnesota Vikings. And I know it was controversial, and David Palmer was a great player. But Gene Stallings believed that his future was in football. It wasn't behind a desk, so to speak. And he knew that was David's future. And he didn't let him down. I mean, he went through the punishment. He had to pay the price, but he kept him on the team. And I kind of thought the same thing about Aiden Holloway, and I thought about that with other athletes that might get in trouble. Are you going to go ahead and just kick them to the curb and flush their future down the drain? Or are you going to give them another shot?
He's one of our, and Nate has said he's one of ours. So on the flip side of this break, we'll talk. Maybe we can talk basketball too.
Yeah, maybe so.
Versus
because we've got some
people who can step up.
We got some NIT action tonight. We've got some play-in action tonight in the NCAA as well. So we got a lot to discuss today. We even got some football news we're going to talk about here on the program. But Gurn Sr. pinch hitting for Barry, who's traveling with Troy Athletics today. The Trojans and the Cornhuskers in Oklahoma City on Thursday. Let's take a quick timeout. Later this hour, Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. He'll join us at the bottom of this hour. Travis Ryer on YouTube, Talking Tide, will join us at the top of hour number 2. Back with more Longshore McKnight after this quick timeout.
Get Truck Month deals on more than trucks at Stivers Ford of Montgomery. Explorers for $13,000 off. Broncos $12,000 off. Expeditions $10,000 off. And Bronco Sports $9,000 off.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Ford Truck Month is bigger and better at Stivers Ford of Montgomery. Take advantage of 0% APR on Super Duties, Lightnings, and F-150s. F-150s, $18,000 off. Super Duties, $2,000 under invoice. And Lightnings, $16,000 off.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level. And the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is Central Alabama's best-known jewelry store. Their location at 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree is conveniently located adjacent to Chappie's Deli. At Marguerite's, they have every jewelry item imaginable because they make it. They really make it. From rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and much, much more. Marguerite's can also repair, clean, and rework any jewelry item that you want to bring back to life. Whether you're on a budget or have no budget at all, Marguerite's has all types of jewelry for everyone. Go by and see them today or call 270-0074. All righty, welcome back in, everybody. About 18 minutes past the hour here on a Tuesday. Glad you are with us. Checking out the River Region Straw chat line. A lot going on this morning. We appreciate it. Ty says he hadn't been to Tuscaloosa in years, and it was a dump when he was there. Ty, you got to go back. There's a lot of new stuff, a lot of construction. You wouldn't recognize it. Compared to 40-something years ago when Gurn Sr. and I were in Tuscaloosa together, compared to today, whew, you would not recognize it. There is a lot going on.
Same with the loveliest village on the plains. I mean, Auburn and Alabama both have got it going on. Auburn especially. We spend a lot of time there playing pickleball and spend the night with my law school roommate. And bars, the restaurants, it's they've got it going on too. Tuscaloosa.
It is. Like college towns are where they figured it out. They hadn't figured it out when we were in school 40 plus years ago, but the city fathers have figured out people want to live in college towns. So let's make it as good as we possibly can. And those two communities certainly have done so. Speaking of a college town, Auburn is going to play some basketball tonight. I mean, late tonight, 9 o'clock tip. The Auburn Tigers will get it going against South Alabama. Wow, an in-state rivalry. Well, I wouldn't even say rivalry. In-state teams going at it at 9 p.m. tonight at Neville Arena. Now, I heard somebody yesterday, I was listening to Feinbaum tell Paul that it was a sellout. They have sold the place out for South Alabama and the 9 o'clock tip. I'm a little skeptical of that. I will be taking a look tonight when the game is on ESPN2. It's immediately after the Davidson at Oklahoma State game. More on that later. But I just, even though the students are back in school and the place holds a little less than 10,000, I'm not expecting a sellout, Gurn, for the Jaguars of South Alabama to roll into Neville Arena tonight.
Well, John, I'm checking out the roster for South, and something's popping up. I got to check the stats. I don't know if he's playing this year, but they have Jaden Cooper for Pike Road. Is a Jaguar. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. We've got Stephen Williams, who's from Atmore, played at Coastal. You've got a kid from Baker. I mean, you've got all these people who wanted to be recruited. John Broom from Jacksonville. Yeah. All these people who want to get recruited by Auburn. We'll get an opportunity to go play in the big boys. And sure. I'm not familiar with their coach, Richie Riley, but they've obviously done pretty well.
Auburn is a 17.5-point favorite tonight. Auburn is the largest favorite of any game being played in college tonight, believe it or not. I mean, not even close. The next closest is 8.5. More on that later. But yeah, 9 o'clock tonight. Interesting start time, interesting game. I asked this question, Gurn, last week, and I got the typical response. Oh, you got to play. Oh, it's the NIT. Give the kids a chance to play. Look, these guys are playing basketball every day. Playing in the NIT ain't going to make that much any difference at all. So these are some of my new favorite teams, Gurn. I'm going to be really following these teams in the future because I can't follow them anymore in 2026. Belmont, Virginia Tech, San Diego State, Seton Hall, Indiana, Florida State, and Oklahoma. All of those teams told the NIT, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to sit this one out. And I thought the same thing about Auburn. Why are they playing in this thing?
Because you're paid to play. You played basketball. You're there.
Oklahoma doesn't seem to think like it's that big of a deal. They're an SEC institution. I don't see Greg Sankey making Oklahoma play.
Some teams think they're better than they are, and obviously Porter Moser and his team thinks that's the case. But I'll say, by God, if you got an opportunity to play. Don't back down. And I applaud Stephen Pearl. I mean, look, it's a character flaw if you don't play, in my book.
Character. Was it a character flaw when David Hobbs decided not to take the Tide to the NIT?
Yeah, exactly. Where's David Hobbs? He ended up on the bench at UK as assistant. I mean, I assume David Hobbs is still alive, but you haven't heard from David Hobbs.
True. I've never forget. I will say this about Auburn. I will say this, and because I knew that was going to come up. And I thought about it. And I thought about these 10. Really, Oklahoma stood out because we were talking about, do you have to go? Is it an SEC requirement? Will Greg Sankey make you go? Obviously not. Oklahoma's elected not to play. But I think in Auburn's case, with all of the chatter and some of the backlash that they were getting, particularly because of some statements that Bruce Pearl was making and the lobbying to get Auburn into the NCAA tournament, it did not happen. So Auburn didn't take the route of, well, we're just going to take our ball and go home since we didn't get what we wanted. So I got to applaud them for saying, okay, well, we didn't get in. but we'll play in the NIT. Probably don't have to. Not that exciting. Big deal if you win the NIT, but they didn't, there again, take their ball and go home. They said, okay, we didn't get what we wanted, but we're going to play in the NIT. I salute them for that.
Well, look, at the end of the day, you're hosting a game. Whether it's a sellout or not, it's going to be full. Students are back. I don't care what you sell the tickets for. It's going to be full. And because it's not a huge arena, and they're going to make money. They're going to sell concessions. They're going to, do all the things, maybe have some paid parking, all those kind of things that generates revenue. And, if you win, you get to play again, and you probably play at home again. So it's, I don't see any negatives to playing in it. I mean, anyway. I love the NIT.
And they're taking the chance, and they're a big favorite, so they certainly should win tonight. But they're taking a chance, and if they lose, it'll be embarrassing. And you kind of wonder. I mean, this team's been hot and cold. I mean, some nights they look great, could beat anybody. Take Florida on the road, for instance, beat them by 9, and then they lose to teams like Mississippi State and LSU. I mean, you can't do that, and you kind of wonder what team will show up tonight.
Well, if they lose to South, probably the only body that will remember it is you, and you will bring it up from years to come.
Well, that's what should I not? I mean, isn't that what I'm paid to do?
Well, no, I'm just saying it just add it to the list of your Auburn hater statements.
Whoa, okay. I think that's way too critical.
We'll add it to the curtain. We'll add it
never
to the curtain.
Use the word hater. Do they? I'll tell you this: if they win tonight, do they roll Toomer's Corner?
Of course. Why not? You got to have something to do on a Tuesday night in Auburn.
Beating an in-state team
Tuesday night at midnight.
Worthy of a Toomer's Corner roll, beating an in-state team. Okay. All right.
Midnight. It will be at least midnight when they roll out of there. It'll be 11:30 when they roll out.
So are you saying the Davidson-Oklahoma State game will go long, maybe overtime? You'll have to watch the Auburn game on ESPN News.
Saying there are a lot of people out there who are in their 50s and 60s, males, that some point in the middle of the night will get up to urinate and they'll check their phone. They will not be staying up to watch this game.
I'll tell you this, Gurn.
So if you resemble that remark on our chat line, let us know.
I'm one of those people that you just described. I usually get up. I think today I got up at 2:45, something like that. When I returned back to the bed, I did not check my phone. And I doubt I'll do it tonight either. I don't like to get out of my routine because if I do too many things, then I'll kind of wake up and won't be able to go back to sleep. I don't like that. So I will say this. I'm not going to watch a minute of NIT basketball unless I'm channel surfing and the game's on and the announcers are screaming and it's tight, maybe. But I do wonder the thought process, the rationale of why these teams I just listed elected not to go.
I don't know because, think about it. It's also, for your university and for your team, it's advertisement. There's nothing else on TV. Nobody's watching the first 4 will be over with when it gets to you. And that's probably why it is so late.
But I wonder how much advertising value you're going to get because who's going to remember Saturday night, 5 days from now, who played tonight in the NIT?
I'm just saying anytime you can be on national TV, why do you think they play the Tuesday, Wednesday football games? It's getting your name, it's getting your brand, it's free marketing, it's just getting it out there. And you don't know the value. There's intrinsic value to it. They know it. The marketers know it. So big word like mayonnaise.
I like that. Intrinsic. That's a big word.
There is value to it. So,
well, maybe for South Alabama, I'm not so much. I think Auburn's pretty well known. I think their former head coach Bruce Pearl has done more in the last 3 weeks, moaning and complaining and bitching and screaming about Auburn should be in the tournament. They've got more exposure from him than they'll get in this NIT.
I don't listen to Bruce anymore. I respect what he's done as a coach. I mean, look, he's okay as a commentator. He's nothing special. My favorite Auburn commentator is Chuck. So, I mean, that's, I'm not.
Who I've had a brush with greatness with before.
And I believe there was some dry cleaning involved.
It was some dry cleaning. I used to have a picture of that. I'll have to dig it up somewhere.
Hey, by the way.
Yes.
I don't know what you think, and this may be for another segment, but I watch a lot of basketball. I watch a lot of NCAAs. They run the same ads over and over on all three platforms. But I'll have to say, the Chuck sleepover ad, if you haven't seen it, to me, it slayed me. I
have yet to see it.
Have you not seen it?
I have not seen it
yet. Okay, they do a sleepover. He was never invited as a sleepover as a kid, so that's kind of a play on that. And he falls asleep, and they're playing with him. And they put shaving cream in his hand, and then tickle his nose. And he puts the shaving cream in his face. So, I mean, that just slayed me. I don't know why. It's stupid. It's elementary school, junior high school, and it just absolutely slayed me.
I think he's also doing a commercial for one of those weight loss pins. Chuck's lost some weight.
He has.
You'll see that as well. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. As we mentioned earlier, Barry is traveling with Troy basketball. They are actually leaving from the Montgomery Regional Airport in about 30 minutes. So he'll wheels up, heading to OKC as the Trojans get ready for the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Barry will be back with us tomorrow from Oklahoma City. Gurn Sr.'s pinch hitting for Barry today. And when we come back, our man Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com, will join us here on the program. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Whomever. It doesn't matter. Tell them to hit the like and subscribe button for Longshore McKnight. And, of course, you can go to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Spotify, Apple Tunes. Type in Longshore and McKnight in the search bar, and you will find us. And as we do that, Gurn, I think we'll let our viewing and listening audience know. Our friends at Yellowhammer told me yesterday that since February the 16th, which was a little over a month, we have had over 19,886 views on the Facebook page. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's a great number in a month's time, and we could not do it without you. So keep it going and tell your buddies and friends and associates, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Back with more. Brian Matthews joins us right after this. The Montgomery Regional Airport is getting better the more you use it. MGM offers multiple nonstop daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport via Delta and American Airlines. And beginning this April, MGM will offer daily nonstop flights to Houston's Intercontinental Airport via United Airlines. All of these cities offer easy connections to destinations all over the country and all over the world. Make travel more cost-effective and less stressful when you utilize your Montgomery Regional Airport. MGM, you can get there from here.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information. Okay, about 25 minutes to the top of the hour. Hey, remember, folks, you've got until Thursday at 11 a.m. This Thursday, March the 19th, 4 for 4 in the Final Four. Pick the 4 teams that will make the Final Four this year. Got to pick the Final 4 teams correctly in this year's NCAA men's basketball tournament to win a 4-carat diamond from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, valued at well over $4,000. See the theme of the fours? 4 for 4 in the Final Four, 4-carat diamond, well over $4,000 in value. Also, we need the total points scored in the championship game, and you could be the big winner. Submit your entries, Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com. That's Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com. In the subject line, put 4 for 4 contest, whatever you want to do. But give us the Final Four teams. Pick the 4 teams that will make the Final Four and the total number of points in the championship game. You can be the big winner of a 4-carat diamond from Marguerite's. It's all brought to you by Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Phoenix Physical Therapy, Bama Budweiser, and the Montgomery Regional Airport. Get those entries in by 11 a.m. this Thursday, and you could be the big winner in our 4 for 4 in the Final Four. Brian Matthews of AuburnSports.com joining us here today. Brian, welcome into the show. Barry is out with Troy today. Our man Gurn Sr. is pinch hitting today. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great, and I hope Barry doesn't freeze out there. I'm about to head to the first practice here just momentarily.
Oh, well, hey, let's kick it off with that. And then we'll talk basketball certainly in a minute, but the Alex Golish era, I guess, beginning with spring practice. I know we've been anticipating getting ready. What are you looking out for today?
Staying warm. I'm going to look, if you go back a year ago and you went to an Auburn practice, you see the defense really getting after it, playing with a lot of intensity. And then it was the, kind of going through the motions offensively. It was sort of 2 different teams, 2 different attitudes, 2 different styles. And I'm looking forward to what it looks like if there's a little bit more consistency on both sides of the ball at practice today. You're also looking at a squad with 60 new players all coming together on the practice field for the first time. Over 80 total players for spring is incredible numbers. I guess that's par for the course now with the portal and all the early high school graduates. But it should be a full stack of players out there. And, normally that first day is shorts and helmets, but it's so cold out there. I'm not sure if they'll be in shorts, but they're young. They're football players. They probably will be anyway. I know I wouldn't be.
Brian, and I know it's early. You're going to see it for the first time, but what are you hearing in terms of exposure and how much you will be able to see at practice compared to, Hugh Freeze, Brian Harsin, Gus Malzahn?
It's been pretty consistent since Gus left. Gus was pretty tight on his security. He did not like people out there too often. But, since then it's been get your practice viewing period, get coaches and players, pretty regularly, assistants. And that's what we'll get today. I think we're going to get about a 30-minute window. And then afterwards we'll speak to Alex Golish and some players. And we'll have full updates, of course, at AuburnSports.com.
Yeah, that's the place to go, AuburnSports.com. A lot of info with spring practice, a lot of excitement, a lot of new faces, and to get all the inside scoop, Brian and that staff at AuburnSports.com have you covered. So, yeah, looking forward to that. That's going to be some good stuff. Brian, NIT basketball. I guess first and foremost, should Auburn be playing? Are you glad they're playing? Is it a good thing for them to play? What are your thoughts about tonight's game?
I don't know how any school could turn down the most prestigious and oldest basketball tournament in the country, John. I don't understand that question at all. I thought about it, right? And I think there are some situations and sometimes in a program's, career, that's not the right word for a program, but when you probably should turn down this, right? But I think Auburn with a first-year coach, with a team that didn't finish very well, I just don't think there's a whole bunch of downside, right? They can play another bad game and lose at home. Well, they've done that. But there is some potential upside, right? If Auburn can beat some teams they should beat at home, over the next week and a half or so, they can go to the Final Four and, maybe build up some positive momentum for Stephen Pearl, his new staff, going into the offseason, where right now it's not necessarily that. You're not really feeling that about that group right now. So I think there is the potential there for that. Not saying they can get it done, but, and make a little money, have the home games. And the other thing I will say is I was kind of surprised. The LSU game was 2 weeks ago, Tuesday night at 9:00. LSU is the worst team in the SEC. Auburn had stumbled down the stretch. And I was not there, but I was told by several people that that place was almost full and it was really loud and people were excited to be there. So that tells me that there is still a hunger and thirst for Auburn basketball among the Auburn folks. And this is a chance for them to get there and get much cheaper tickets, $25 general admission, and see this team. Maybe if you haven't seen them all season, or maybe this is a great opportunity to bring your family and stuff. So yeah, I can see a lot of upsides for it.
Yeah, I mean, I even heard through the grapevine yesterday, Brian, don't have it, confirmed, but it was sold out. So we'll see. I mean, 9:00 on a Tuesday is not the best time. You're right. It's cold out there.
Yeah.
But I would think if any fan base is going to show up, it would be the Auburn fan base. They certainly have been loyal for many, many years when it comes to this basketball program.
That's true. And, they're slashing prices. I think the beers are half off, concessions.
Nice.
And if you go to baseball today, John, you can get a hot dog for like $1.25 and a beer for $2.50.
What is this, Costco? Come on!
Yeah, I know it's crazy. It's crazy.
I love it.
I'm going to leave the press box and I'm going to go sit in the stands and have me a good time.
Brian, I was talking to one of my pickleball buddies, who's a former Auburn catcher, Tex, and Tex sits behind home plate. I'm sure you know Tex.
Oh, incredible dude. Yes, of course.
Yeah. So Tex tells me, and I always ask him, tell me about the team. He is pumped up about this team. He said the brothers from Salem are the real deal. He had another kid who he's fond of as well. And he said the pitching's outstanding. What can you tell us about Auburn baseball?
Yeah, this is some of the best pitching Auburn's had in a long time. So deep right now across the board in that pitching staff. They've started the same 4 starters since the season started, basically. And they've been really consistent and really, really good. I'm trying to think of the stat I used today. It was the 3 weekend starters have gone 11-1 with a 1.81 ERA, 141 strikeouts, 18 walks. So that's just incredible. And then they've got some really good young players in that lineup that I still feel like is still coming into its own. I don't think this lineup has reached its potential close to it yet. So this is an exciting baseball team. And they've got, they're number 4. They got number 3, Georgia Tech, coming in today. And then they got number 2, Texas, coming in this weekend. And the Georgia Tech game will be the highest ranked game ever at Plainsville Park. And that'll be, of course, passed on Friday when Texas plays. So big week for the Diamond Tigers.
Because of everything else going on in basketball and all that, people lose sight of what they did out in Texas. That was so John, they had a huge college tournament out in Texas and they whipped some really good teams out there. And that kind of set the tone, right, for the start of the year.
It did. They beat Kansas State pretty good, and then beat Florida State and Louisville, 2 good Power 4 programs out there. So that was a good start. Going out to Missouri and sweeping them to start SEC play. It's the first road sweep Auburn's had to start SEC play since 2010, so 16 years. That 2010 team was really good. It was led by Player of the Year, Hunter Morris. So, this team has got the potential to be very, very competitive as we move through this season.
Yeah, I heard so much about this baseball team. It's going to be fun to watch, and certainly Gurn's been telling me about it as well through his buddies. So it should be a really good year for the Tigers on the diamond. Back to football, Brian, and we're going to talk a lot about this in the spring and summer, I'm sure. But I saw earlier in the week where FanDuel released their win totals for the Power 4 schools. I haven't been able to find any of the Group of Fives, but SEC, Big 10, ACC, Big 12. scrolling down, and they've got Auburn at 6.5 wins. On the surface, to me, looks a little low. I've actually got to put up more money to bet over 6.5 at -120. If I take under, it's only -102.
All right.
But your thoughts about Auburn at 6.5 wins for the upcoming season?
Well, I don't want to get too positive because this is a program that's lost 5 straight, had 5 straight losing seasons. But I think they're going to have a really good quarterback for the first time since Bo Nix left. And I think, they've got some really good skill position players. You would expect DJ Durkin to have a pretty good defense. He's been pretty consistent throughout his college career. But the big question mark is the biggest question mark that any team can have. It's the line of scrimmage. Auburn has to find new starters on the defensive line, all new starters on the offensive line. They've got 16 newcomers on the offensive line, 3 returning guys. So it's going to be just a wide open, competitive spring and 2-a-days. Of course, Cole Best is the starting center at USF. He's here now. You think he's going to earn that job here, but we'll see. And then the defensive line, you got to replace a guy like Keldrick Falk, who was everything to Auburn on and off the field last year. And, they recruited some good young players. They brought in some veterans. We'll just see how everything fits together there. But if they can just be average up front, which doesn't sound good, but in the SEC, that is really good. I think they could be really good, especially with the quarterback they brought in.
Yeah, we talked about a week ago, it was about a month ago, we went through the starting 5, and I know it's got a basketball, feel to it, but it was the first 5 games that Auburn's going to play. And, to me, that they got to get off to a good start because the rest of the schedule is pretty difficult. And a lot of people say, playing Baylor in Atlanta is not going to be a walk in the park. And compared to some other teams' opening day opponents, I would agree. But, Baylor Southern Miss should certainly be a couple of victories. You got John Summerall you play in Florida in game 3. That ought to be a big one, but it is in Auburn. Vanderbilt, I don't expect to be as good as they were last year with Diego Pavia no longer there. And then, of course, you're at Tennessee. So, to me, Brian, those first 5 before Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, and come on the schedule are going to be huge for this team to get over that 6.5 mark.
Yeah. I think the first 4 really. You feel like Baylor's going to, their coach is probably on the hot seat going in pretty much. Don't know what to expect out of first year Florida. Probably very similar to first year Auburn, but you get them at home. Like you said, we don't know much about Vanderbilt post Pavia, but I'm sure they're going to be much more better than Vanderbilt before Pavia, right? Or before this era. Mm-hmm. But at Tennessee, at Georgia, LSU, at Ole Miss, that 4-game stretch is really, really, really difficult, right? So you need to be right and ready by the time you get there and see if you can pull an upset or 2 during that stretch. But I think those first 4 games are really, really important.
And I think it's going to be interesting because these numbers are going to move. They're going to fluctuate a little bit over the spring and summer once these guys in Vegas get some news about how spring practice is gone or if there's, any defections or injuries or things like that in the summer. So they're not going to move a lot, but they'll certainly can be adjusted between now and the time they kick it off. So to me, on the surface, my initial reaction was, ooh, that's a little low. And maybe that's why you got to put up 120 to get over 6.5 compared to 102 to get under. But, I'm thinking, and I've seen it, Brian. I've seen, Auburn's going to go 7-5 again. They're going to go 8-4 again. I don't know about that. I do. I just think we've heard enough about that. I could see them maybe ticking up a little. To me, 6.5 is just too low.
Well, I think every Auburn person in the world just wants this team to exceed expectations for once. But, I'm just really, I got to see it, right? Just like last year, I got to see it. I didn't see it. I want to see it this year. But I do feel you. I do feel like this team has that potential to definitely exceed those expectations.
So Brian, all right, you've been through how many coaches in your career? How many Auburn head coaches?
I started with Tuberville.
Gotcha.
So Tuberville, Gus.
All the way through.
Yep.
All right.
Was that 5? I think it's 5 or 6.
I know it's early, but what's your vibe about Golish? As far as personality-wise, he seems no nonsense.
I think no nonsense is a great way to describe him. Yeah, and I just think he is a attention to details type guy. with a, sort of like Gus was, but more on both sides of the ball, and also a little bit more of a personality than maybe Gus had. Right? I love Gus. He's my favorite coach to cover, but he wasn't the most outgoing guy, and I think Golesh puts a little bit more into that. Builds better relationships, I feel like, with his coaches and players and recruits. So I think he's got a little edge there, but I think he's really, really into the details of building a football team, of coaching a football team, of helping out young men, of evaluating. I think he's involved in all of it.
I heard something over the weekend, and I'm trying to rack my brain to figure out who and where I heard it. It was on a national broadcast of some sort. But basically, they were saying Golesh isn't liked very well among the coaching fraternity. And I thought, well, that's a good sign. If I'm an Auburn fan, I'm thinking, well, good. I don't want a coach that everybody loves and wants to be around and yucking it up and patting them on the back and blah, blah, blah. To me, if you've got a coach that a lot of people don't like, then usually you're doing things that they don't want to have to coach against, or they don't want to have to face, or things of that nature. But I took that as a positive. I mean, they certainly weren't presenting it that, this guy's a turd and everybody doesn't like him and he blah, 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 blah. It came across that this is a guy that other coaches don't like to face.
Yeah, and I would kind of like to see a coach at Auburn, and maybe Auburn has one that, puts winning pretty high on his list of things that are important, right, and does what it takes to win. Because I don't think that attitude permeates Auburn's athletic department at the moment, in my opinion. So if that is truly what Golesh is, I think Auburn fans will get excited about him, and I don't think they'll mind a coach that upsets everybody. I almost said it. You know what I'm saying?
John used the T word. You can use the P word.
It's okay. If you call somebody a turd, that's you must not think very highly of them. I'm telling you. Well, wow. Man, it's tough. All right, Brian, it's probably you need to go put your long johns on. You're heading out to practice. I think it was 31 degrees when I last checked my Insta weather report. Yeah, 31 is the current temperature here in the capital city. So I'm sure it's probably around the same there on the plains.
It is. I took the dog for a walk early on, and I'm about to head over there. So, yeah, it's going to be chilly out.
All right, Brian, we'll leave you with this question. It's very important. If you were on the Auburn baseball team, what would be your walkout song?
Oh, it'd be something from like the 60s or 70s, like the Beatles maybe, or Fleetwood Mac, something like that. Fleetwood Mac may not be the perfect baseball song though, so definitely something from back in the day for sure.
Okay. Well, I tell you, got a lot of response on the River Region Straw chat line. Hey, you guys don't talk music with Brian much anymore. I said, hey, this summer we're gonna be talking a lot of music.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I'll think more on that. I'll have a better answer next time. I'll think more on that.
Yeah. I hear you. Hey, before we let you go, let our listeners and viewers know how they can follow you and everything going on at auburnsports.com. You mentioned spring football. You guys are going to be all over it.
Yeah, big triple hitter today with spring practice, baseball, basketball. We'll have blowout coverage of it. Expect tons and tons of content at auburnsports.com, and continue to cover recruiting. There's recruits here, so it's a big day and a big weekend coming up for that. All that and more, auburnsports.com. You can follow me on Twitter/X at BMattAU.
Awesome. Brian, as always, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. We'll talk next week.
Appreciate both of you guys, man. Y'all have a good one.
You too, buddy. Thank you. Great stuff there from Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. Travis Ryer scheduled to join us a little after 8 a.m. today. It's hour number 2 on the live version. If you're watching or listening later in the day, you're thinking, hey, man, it's 2:30. That's the beauty of this format. You watch it, you listen to it on your schedule. That's what it's all about. Not on our schedule, on your schedule. And we really appreciate that. We just mentioned some of the numbers that our friends at Yellowhammer News provided us yesterday through their Facebook page, where people watch us each and every day. And the numbers were incredible. 19,886 views in a month's time, beginning February the 16th until March the 16th. And we really appreciate all the views and all the support. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll get ready to go for Travis when he hops on with us. A lot to talk about here today. We're just scratching the surface on this Tuesday edition, of Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me."
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. All right, welcome back in, everybody. A couple of minutes at the top of the hour. Travis Ryer on YouTube, Talking Tide, scheduled to join us here in a few minutes. How about this question involving Aiden Holloway? This is another thing I thought about yesterday. More than likely, he will not participate for Alabama basketball the remainder of this year and possibly in years to come. They play Hofstra on Friday afternoon. Should not be that big of a deal. They should be able to beat a team like Hofstra. I think I saw Bama's like a 14-point favorite. I'll double-check that. Texas Tech could be a different story. But even if they beat Texas Tech, does anybody really out there think they're going to beat Michigan? No. And there again, I know people get excited and worked up and, oh, giddy, where it's the match, it's the March Madness, it's the tournament, blah, 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 blah. But do you really think Alabama's going to go further than the Sweet 16? I mean, to me, that's their max, whether Aiden Holloway plays or not.
All right. So the difference between you and me, John, you're a glass a quarter empty. A quarter full, full, and yeah. I'm a glass 3/4 full. Let me tell you, I always try and see the positive if there is one, and sometimes I make up the positive, and it's not reality. So you take Aiden Holloway out of the lineup. Yes, the dude is the best shooter on the team. Pure shooter, can hit from anywhere. My favorite, Chris Stewart. I'm listening to a game a couple weeks ago, maybe even the Auburn game. I was driving the car, and Chris Stewart said Aiden Holloway took a shot from the Wiregrass. And what he meant was they got the state logo on the court, and he was down in the bottom over there on the bottom side where the Wiregrass is.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just a classic. And, you know, there was a guy from Arkansas who used to take shots from the snout at Arkansas, or Dillard from who's actually from Jasper area.
Yeah.
So that being said, you know, what you're going to have is people are going to get more minutes. Okay. You never know when the right mix happens. In other words, somebody goes down with an injury or whatever. We've got enough guards. So you've got Houston Millette's going to play more. He's going to obviously have to be more important. When you watch this team, say what you want to about Phylon, Aiden, all these other people. The most important person on this team is Houston Millette. The reason is he's the glue. He's the guy that gets everybody up. He's the tip ball guy. He's the guy on the ground. He's an amazing body language.
He's a blue-collar player. He's a lunch pail guy.
Blue-collar player, came from Pepperdine, has been injured. He's just happy to be there. I mean, he thought his career was over with his leg issues. Yeah. And so he's going to get more minutes. So he's got to play better, okay? Amari Allen has to play better. And so because he's going to get the minutes, but he's going to have bigger impact minutes. Yep. You've got London Jemison's got to play better, and he'll play more. But Jaleel Bethea, a guy who I thought he was hurt, but he just didn't play for a while this season. And he's a freshman, and he's damn good. But he's also erratic. I mean, he's one of these guys, he gets it at half court, and he's
Make sure you clarify that. He's erratic.
Well, yeah, he is erratic. You don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Not to be confused with erotic, which somebody's used on this program before to describe an athlete.
That's true. So, maybe we go with a 4-guard set, which kind of is what we've been doing anyway.
Okay, and that's a good
I don't know. It just a lot depends on who we play and how we play. This is a crazy team.
You hear that guard play is so important. I'm with you there. I get it. I'll say this: with or without Aiden Holloway, if they make it to the Sweet 16 and face Michigan and that type of setup and lineup that the Wolverines have, I don't care if you got Aiden Holloway or not. I don't see Bama advancing past there, but who knows? They're going to play anyway. Hey, joining us now, as he does each and every Tuesday, is our man Travis Ryer on YouTube, Talking Tide. Travis, Barry is traveling with Troy basketball. Their wheels up, heading to Oklahoma City to get ready for Nebraska. So we've got our friend Gurn Sr. pitch hitting today here on the program with us, but we appreciate you joining us as well. Hope you're doing good.
Doing great. How are you guys?
Man, we are doing fantastic. I guess let's just dive into the deep end from the get-go here. Your thoughts about the Aiden Holloway situation and how it could affect this basketball team in the tournament.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, even for a team, first and foremost for him, obviously, personally, and who knows how that's all going to play out. We'll just have to see. But as far as the basketball perspective, even for a team that likes its depth in the backcourt, and you're still talking about 17 points per game that this guy was giving you. He had scored double digits in each of his last 12 games. So it's not as easy as saying, well, just more maybe Amari Allen at the 2-3 and, Latrell Wrightsell obviously is there. This team, with or without Aiden Holloway, is going to be led by LeBaron Phylon. Now, I think for LeBaron, it becomes more important to be a 20-plus point per game kind of guy in all likelihood, because you'd like to think maybe in this first weekend, Wrightsell gets on one and, gives you 15-plus in a game or two, depending on your run down there in Tampa. I think Allen has got to be more of that kind of guy. They have to be, more committed to some other guys that they can, play more at the 3-4 or even stretch at the 5 with Aiden Sherrill and Noah Williamson. So it kind of has a ripple effect, I think, on their rotation. I'm with you, though. I think regardless, my ceiling for this team was the 16. And that's especially the case when you got Michigan sitting there as the 1, because teams with size like Arizona, Gonzaga, Florida, even Purdue this season have been a real problem for Alabama, because they just run Alabama off the line and send them into those bigs and say, let's see if you can finish. And that's not easy to do. So it becomes more difficult without Aiden Holloway. But, I thought the draw was pretty favorable for Alabama. I guess this could feel a little bit like that Iona matchup a few years back.
Yep.
But, you hate it more for, Holloway. And, you get to this point where it's the biggest stage, the stage you want to be on. And, for whatever reason now you're not able to participate, but it is what it is. And this team's got to just move on.
Yeah, it does kind of make you scratch your head thinking, wow, here you are about to start the NCAA tournament. You don't want anything to trip you up. Yeah, we'll never know. I don't know, getting to the head of a college kid and what he's thinking. I'm sure these coaches, they're bashing their head against the wall as well. You meant, they got Hofstra. Obviously a big favorite, should be able to win this game. You wonder about the chemistry, but let's just go ahead and assume they're going to win Friday night. And it's looking like Texas Tech will probably be up next.
Yeah, and Texas Tech, again, from just a pure matchup perspective, it wouldn't be the worst one should Alabama, move past Hofstra, because Texas Tech is not built like a Michigan or an Arizona or a Florida, not just in terms of roster depth, but I'm talking about bigs. JT Toppin out for the remainder of the season with that ACL tear. They've even had some injuries of their own in the backcourt going into their conference tournament. They were woodshedded pretty good by Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament. So we'll see where they're at in terms of their overall health. But you listen to some of the analysts on Selection Sunday, there's some folks that don't think Alabama or Texas Tech will get to that Sunday matchup.
Yeah, I heard a little bit. Heard a little bit of that myself too. Some of these teams you don't pay a lot of attention to, and we've seen it. I mean, they surprise these March surprises. One shining moment, we've heard about it. No Bama fans are hoping it just doesn't happen against the Crimson Tide. But Friday, 3:15 in Tampa is when things will get started for the Crimson Tide in the NCAA tournament. Let's talk spring football. They've gone through 4, I believe, practices, maybe 5 before they broke for spring break. One of the things that we got a lot of reaction on, Travis, I'm sure you did as well, Ryan Grubb is, announced who the starting left tackle is going to be. Your thoughts about that? What can you tell us about Jackson Lloyd, and was it too soon?
That's a great question. Apparently to Ryan Grubb and even a new offensive line coach, when you think about that dynamic, that you go from Kapilovic to Clem now, and apparently, the lockstep is there in terms of the belief that this second-year guy is ready to jump right in there and, be that starting left tackle. I think it's good news, because I think all along they had this year penciled in for him. Going back to Lloyd's recruitment out in the Monterey Peninsula of all places, but good athlete, saw him a little bit last year as a true freshman. Thought it was pretty apparent that he still had some work to do physically. Seeing a little bit of him in the practice footage so far this spring, it looks like he's made those strides. He's up to nearly 320 pounds. So I guess they feel really good about their tackle situation with Michael Carroll back on the right side. And now Lloyd apparently entrenched as that starter over on the left.
Yeah, I think it surprised a lot of people how quickly that announcement came. But, hey, if they can solidify that offensive line, the sooner the better. I'm sure a lot of fans would be thinking about that. Obviously, the quarterback battle is something we're going to talk about all spring long. I don't think there's been really a lot of separation or a lot to report. And I'm not sure, Travis, that with a lot of football programs, we might not know who the starter is going to be until a week before the season starts.
Yeah, that would be the big surprise. If Ryan Grubb from the pub basically came out and said, oh, yeah, it's Austin Mack, or, oh, yeah, it's Keelan Russell. I don't anticipate that being the case, but and no reason to. I mean, you've got guys that don't have starting experience now. Austin Mack with triple the time, really, in a Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb kind of system. You would think that benefits him, but then you think about the dynamic ability of a Keelan Russell and his potential to elevate everyone around him. Now, they may have the people in place in terms of running back, tight end, wide receiver, where you don't need that kind of guy necessarily, but it never hurts to have a playmaker that can do the things that sort of erase mistakes by others around him. And so, it's going to be fascinating to watch it play out. Really don't have an inclination, a strong feel one way or the other. I guess the one thing I continue to struggle to get past is, what Russell can do on a snap in and snap out basis. Can he take care of the football? I think that's the question. I think that's the question for Austin Mack. And, if you're in Mack's camp, you're thinking, hey, this is pretty much the route that a Jalen Milroe took. This is pretty much the route that a Mac Jones took. This is the route that Ty Simpson most recently took. So you're banking on that time and that experience, even if it isn't starting experience, working in your favor.
FanDuel earlier this week released win totals for the Power Four schools. I hadn't seen any of the Group of Fives yet, but SEC, ACC, Big Ten, Big 12 all got a number. Alabama's win total is 8.5. If you bet under 8.5, you got to put up 128 to win 100. To bet over 8.5, it's plus 104. What are your thoughts about the 8.5 win total for the 2026 Crimson Tide?
Yeah, here on March 17th, I'd feel pretty good about the over, especially with maybe that kind of return on 8.5. I know you guys did something like this. We did it on YouTube, where we went and tried to find wins for Alabama in February for the 2026 season. I think I came up with 10, which by the time I got done, I thought, man, that seems a little bit high, but I think they're capable of replicating what they did essentially in the regular season a year ago with this team. You always think about the schedule, obviously, first and foremost, but I don't think the road is particularly unkind to them. They get Georgia at home, they get Auburn at home. Obviously, got to go to LSU. That won't be easy, but the schedule sets up well for them, especially in September. Now, once you get to October, for everybody in the league, it becomes just borderline brutal. And so, that'll define it for them. I think early October through LSU, as is typically the case, that's where we'll find out about this team.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, Travis, and these numbers are going to fluctuate here and there a little bit through the spring, through the summer, when some information starts flowing and these guys in Vegas pick up on it. But I thought it was interesting in conference winners winning the championship. Texas is the favorite in the SEC, followed by Georgia, LSU, then Texas A&M, and then Alabama and Ole Miss are both at plus 1,000. The other four teams I mentioned, A&M, LSU, Georgia, and Texas, have better odds. I can't say I disagree with that right now, but I could see Alabama. I'm not sold they're going to win the conference, but I think I could see them in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think it starts with the quarterback, right? I mean, when you sort of outline those teams, I immediately go to the quarterback position. So absolutely makes a lot of sense for those teams in that top tier. Then you get into the Alabamas and some of the others maybe that are going to go through some transitions. I think when you think about quarterback, if Alabama's going to be there again, whether it's Mack or Russell, they're going to have to get elite quarterback play. I know there's hope that the run game has to improve over what it was a year ago. But at the end of the day, in this offense, there's still going to be a lot on the quarterback position. And so, that's what it's going to have to go back to. I think if you get to December and Alabama doesn't have one of those first or second teamish kind of all SEC quarterbacks, it's probably going to be hard for them to get to Atlanta or win if they do get there.
I thought this was it. I thought this was interesting. Real quickly about totals before we I just want to wrap up with this, Gurn. You would think Georgia, Texas, Ohio State would be in the 10 range. None of those schools are there. The team that's got the highest total is Notre Dame at 11.5. They don't play 12 games, and obviously you look at their schedule, and they have a lot of winnable games on their schedule. But with the stipulation, the rule that Notre Dame's got to finish in the top 12 just to make the playoff, I think you can go ahead and ink Notre Dame in to make the playoff this year.
Yeah, I think that was always the plan with that agreement. So, yeah, I mean, they return again a starting quarterback in C.J. Carr. Jeremiah Love moving on to the National Football League. But, Notre Dame, typically the run game, you don't worry about all that much. They're going to be effective there. And as you said, more than anything, schedule-wise, it's hard to envision the Irish not being in the college football playoff.
So, Travis, this is a loaded question, but Texas, how can Texas not be by and far away the team to beat in the SEC next year? Their roster is freaking sick. With the quarterback they've got coming back, Cam Coleman, other defensive NIL guys they've got, it just looks like they're loaded.
I think they are definitely at the playmaker spots, as you outlined, bringing in a couple of the backs that they did also from the transfer portal, including Hollywood from NC State, who got away from Alabama.
Yeah.
Right. And you certainly anticipate Arch carrying over some of that momentum that we saw at the end of the 2025 season when I thought it was really starting to kick in for him. It's a big year for Sark because everything seems to be in place. I will say this. They weren't close to good enough on their offensive line last year. So with that group, I don't care if you bring back Arch or not, they got to be better up front. And they weren't very good in that area. I would anticipate that being an uptick over a year ago. But absolutely, I'm with you. I look at it right now and think, boy, how is Texas not the pick?
Yeah, and then just looking at their schedule, and we went over the first 5 a couple of weeks ago, but the entire schedule, I mean, they got Ohio State week 2, but that's at home. They got to go to Tennessee, which I'm not sure they've ever been to Knoxville before. I think we mentioned that about a month or so ago. The game with Oklahoma is always Florida comes to town. Ole Miss comes to Austin. At Missouri, at LSU could be really interesting in mid-November, and then at A&M to round out the season. So the schedule certainly looks manageable.
Yeah, I think so. It was pretty tough a year ago. And it's never going to be easy, as we know, in this iteration of the Southeastern Conference. But absolutely. Again, I think for Sark, this is one of those years. Now, they got there a couple of years ago, came up short against Georgia, even after knocking Carson Beck out of that championship game. But no excuses for the Longhorns this time around.
All right. Before we let you go, any golf videos we need to be made aware of?
Well, I mean, if you like bad golf, certainly.
Well, you're talking to two guys that we fill that void.
Nobody makes a more stress-free bogey than par 3 driver guy. So was out in Tucson, Arizona last week, hanging out with some friends, and was able to play a couple of 3 days at La Paloma Country Club, which this week is hosting the Cologuard Classic on the PGA Tour Champions. So you'll be able to see this great place. But right there in the foothills of the Catalinas, and we have some content from there. We're going to have some more SEC related content on the channel later in the week. I think we're going to have kart golf tonight on the channel, talking some Players Championship with Cam Young and his big win. And
man, how about that?
We talked a lot of Alabama on Selection Sunday. So that show's archived right now from Sunday night right there at Ryer on YouTube.
Any shots Travis, into a cactus bush or anything like that?
I'm pretty good with that driver.
Yeah,
so
no kidding.
I haven't had any bad shots. Now, in these videos, I'm playing with a +1, my buddy Sully, who is essentially a a hired gun for member guests. I mean, people fly him in from all over the country to sabotage their member guests. So he's tough, but no, it's a lot of fun.
I love it.
So, Travis, the wife and I are headed out on Sunday to the Dominican Republic to play at Casa de Campo and Teeth of the Dog. And
Wow.
And so we've been playing a lot. The driver's been a little erratic, so I'm a little nervous. Any tips? She's out driving me from the ladies' tee. So
well, yeah, good for her.
Yeah,
she hits a good stinger for sure.
Hey, tee it down and let it bound.
Yeah.
No, I love my driver. It's made by a local company. It's not Titleist, it's not Callaway, it's not brand, but man, it allows me to play golf. Because the rest of my game, if I couldn't get off the tee, it wouldn't be worth spending the 3 or 4 hours on while I'm out there. But yeah, I mean, the driver can be that way.
Yeah.
Can be a little temperamental.
I heard a commentator the other day say, all right, here's what you do with your driver. It's vodka tonic. You take it back and you say vodka, and then tonic on the way through, a nice smooth swing. So I started doing that, and man, I was nutting it out there. Then the words got in my head, and then that's all I could think about. And then I started duck hooking. So it just,
somewhere in the middle of vodka and tonic must be tempo, right?
Yes.
Kind of chills you out.
It is all about tempo. Travis, before we let you go, let our viewers and listeners know how they can follow you. So much great content with Ryer on YouTube.
Yeah, just there on X at Travis Reier, TravisReier. You can also catch me on YouTube at Ryer on YouTube, Reier on YouTube.
Outstanding. Travis, thank you so much, my friend. We always appreciate it. Look forward to next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. You too, man. Thank you. Travis Ryer on YouTube. Talking Tide. Great insight as always on the program. All right. Got to take a break. When we come back, there's a little thing we do called the Phantoms Daily Dog. I don't see anybody chatting about it on the River Region Straw chat line, so I guess it must be good news for the Phantom because they love to take a shot when the Phantom stubs his toe. We'll see how it played out last night and give you tonight's Daily Dog when we return.
It's Ram Truck Month at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. New Rams $20,000 off or 0% for 6 years, and heavy duties $12,000 off. Backed by Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. The Declaration of Deals sales event is on at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. Grand Cherokees, Grand Cherokee L's, and Gladiators up to $15,000 off, and Wranglers $13,000 off. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. You know, many well-known restaurants in the River Region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272. All righty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you are here with us today. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. You can check us out there at the Yellowhammer News Facebook page, as so many people have done. We really, really appreciate that. A lot of viewers there, greatly appreciate it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends, tell your associates, heck, even tell your enemies. We'll take them too to hit the like and the subscribe button. You can also check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, Spotify, Apple Tunes, wherever you get your podcast, whenever you want to view, whenever you want to listen. It is on your schedule, not ours. We just do it live from 7 until 9 every weekday morning. But as we found out, so many people watch, view, and listen on their schedule throughout the day. And we really, really appreciate that. All right, we do something called the Phantom's Daily Dog here on the program. And last night we went into the NBA. It just happened to be the last game scheduled on the NBA card last night. And similar to the question you asked about Auburn playing late tonight, will people get up when they get a bathroom break at 2 a.m. and check their phone? No, I don't do that. I did not do it last night to check the final on the LA Clippers San Antonio Spurs game. But when I set up this morning, logged on to the program, I did check the score, and look at this. I come to find out the LA Clippers, they lost the game, but they covered the spread. Catching 8.5 last night. They lose, unfortunately, 119-115, but you add 8.5 to 115, and that comfortably covers the 119 that the Spurs scored last night. I got to tell you, Gurn, if you look at the box score, I find that I don't know what the substitution patterns were for the Clippers last night, but the Clippers had an 8-point lead after the first quarter. They're up 37-29. In the second quarter, San Antonio scores 37 points. The Clippers score 15. Wow. I mean, they are.
That tells you that San Antonio's poised. San Antonio's poised for the playoffs. That means they've got a bench. The bottom line is they came out a little sluggish, and the Clippers do. You said it was unfortunate they lost. Why is it unfortunate they lost? They covered.
Well, I hate it for them. I mean, if you're going to take them, I mean, it'd be nice if they could win outright, particularly at home. And they did have a really good second half, outscoring the Spurs in the third and the fourth quarter, but they did fall short by 4 points. But, it'd been nice if they'd have won. Hate it for them, but they covered, which is the most important. Actually, believe it or not, you probably will believe this, but, my boys are seniors in high school. And in the yearbook, their yearbook photos, they have senior quotes. And one of my boys' senior quotes is going to be, it's not whether you win or lose, you got to cover the spread. The Phantom.
I believe, my guess is that would be my godson.
Believe it or not, it's not. It's actually it's number 5 child.
That means you have been a bad influence on someone who does not have any of your DNA. That's all I say. You've impressioned upon a young man by being in his life, and that's even worse. Because the other
number
kid,
the
other one was forced to be in your life. This one was a choice made by another adult.
Right. He is the youngest of the 5. Might be the smartest of them all, but he's the youngest. He's the one that sent me the text, Gurn, over the weekend. Man, we're killing it on the blackjack table down here. I went, oh, Lord.
He's gone radio silent since.
I said, tap the brakes, boys, because they're going to get it all back, and you better take your winnings and run. Yeah, I have not heard anything else about how the casino systems have gone in. And I know what people are thinking. You got to be 18 to gamble in the Dominican Republic, and they certainly meet that criteria.
All right. So, do you remember your quote?
We didn't have senior quotes at Jeff Davis.
So, at Carroll High School, we did. And I can tell you what mine was. All right. So, all right, here it goes. So, nigh is grandeur to the dust, so near to God is man. When duty whispers low, thou must, the youth replies, I can.
Wow. Listen to this guy.
I have no idea where that came from. But my favorite yearbook story, my best friends were a year older than me, Dr. Kenny Harris and Alan Parker, and they were on the yearbook staff.
Okay.
And so when they would, when there were people who didn't submit quotes, they would submit quotes for them. And they had some classics. I mean, they would just put stuff like Boogie on Down, or, you know, just stuff that was just off the wall for that. So always submit your quote. Otherwise somebody might put something bad in there for you.
Somebody submit it for you. You're exactly right. All right. So we had a winner last night, but we got to move on. You know, it's what have you done for me lately? So Gurn, I might need a little help on this one. But we kind of hinted at it earlier today on the program. The game before Auburn and South Alabama tip at 9 p.m. scheduled. There's a game in Stillwater, Oklahoma at 7 p.m. on ESPN2 where the Cowboys of Oklahoma State are welcoming in Davidson in a first-round NIT matchup. Davidson finished 10-8 in the conference, 20-13 overall. All right, not bad at all. Do you know what conference the Davidson Wildcats are in, Gurn?
They used to be in the Southern Conference, but I don't know if the Southern Conference still exists. So
yeah, me either.
They were there with Citadel and VMI and all those guys, but I don't know what it's called now.
Oklahoma State comes in tonight at 19-14 overall, 6-12 in the Big 12. Oh,
hey, Big 12 is the best basketball conference at the top. So I mean, that's a brutal
I will
conference.
say Arizona and Houston pretty good. Iowa State's not bad.
Kansas,
TCU,
I mean, that's
Central Florida.
That's 8 losses there. So I mean, that's not but going back to the Big 12, I got to throw this out to you. There's a guy named Jerome Tang. Tang was their coach. He goes into a press conference and just says his team's not playing hard and they suck. He gets fired for cause. So they don't have to pay him his contract for cause for talking. So he sued him for his $16 million. Anyway, go on, finish. All right, here. All right. So you like Davidson, huh?
I'm going with Davidson tonight, catching 8.5 in Stillwater, Oklahoma. You know, I'm just thinking a lot of things here. Davidson 20-13. They're in the A10, by the way, is their conference.
Okay, they moved
the Atlantic 10. They are 20-13, catching 8.5 against a sleepy Oklahoma State team that I'm not sure is overly thrilled about being in this game. So we're going to grab the 8.5 in a game that, okay, maybe they won't win it. But like last night with the LA Clippers, we think they got a good chance of covering the number. So that's what we're going with.
All right, I like it. I like Davidson. You know, I've had many friends go to Davidson. One of them described it as the school that sucks the life out of you. It has the no fun school. They take their academics very seriously and don't party very hard. So, you know, that means they'll be serious going this game.
It sounds like a school I probably did not even need to apply for.
Where is Davidson?
Oh, man. Now you're asking me too many questions.
What state? What state?
Can't tell you.
It's outside.
Don't know.
It's outside Charlotte.
Outside of Charlotte. Okay.
30 minutes. It's about 30 plus minutes to Charlotte, from Charlotte.
Do we know the city? The actual city?
I think it might be Davidson. I mean, it might actually be the same.
Okay.
It's a small
I know
town.
Concord is outside of, it's a big NASCAR town outside of Charlotte.
Well, I got a ticket in Concord on a Sunday morning. I do remember that. They're very diligent about it.
Well, and, you think they'd, let it slide a little bit with all that NASCAR stuff up there, people driving fast, but
I think it's
sorry to hear that.
I think it's a trap because I had 4 lawyers call me the next morning trying to help me get off the ticket. So it's a racket. There's enough of it that they've got a racket going. So
Gurn, our man Dudley, who's a big contributor on our River Region Straw chat line, says Steph Curry went to Davidson.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Gurn Jr. had cousins go to Davidson and
no way.
lived in Steph Curry's former room. One of Gurn Jr.'s cousins was sitting there on a Saturday night and the doorbell rang and walked to the door and it was Steph Curry. And
no way.
He was living in the same room Steph Curry was, and he wanted to just see his old room.
Is that similar? Is that similar to Cornelius Bennett knocking on our door of the house we lived in as freshmen at the University of Alabama? And the king of dry cleaning here in Montgomery answered the door and had no clue who Cornelius Bennett was?
No, it's more like Cornelius Bennett chest butting the door off my room in the fraternity house.
I
on a Thursday night during a swap on a Thursday night, and he might have had a few pops, and he chest busted it off the hinges.
Well, was that the Thursday before the Saturday game when he pile drive Steve Berline onto the Legion Field AstroTurf?
I think it was in the. I can't remember. I think it might have been in the spring, but he was not to be messed with, as you know. All right, John. We got to go back to the NBA, okay? Because I heard something. I heard something magical.
Okay, let's hear it.
The Atlanta Hawks are on a heater. Okay, they've now won 10 in a row, and they are in position to get into a play-in game for the playoffs. Okay. That is not the most important thing that happened last night. So last night in Atlanta, the marketing department had scheduled Magic City night.
Okay. All right.
I'm glad you don't know what Magic City is. It's a strip club in Atlanta. They were going to have a strip club sponsor a game. And they realized that's not the best idea for the NBA. And the NBA found out about it. And instead, I think they had a wing place. So anyway, moving on. That was just the dumbest thing you could ever do in the NBA. So anyhow,
well, I'll say this.
The Hawks are on a heater. The Hawks are on a heater. They won 10 in a row. They might make the playoffs.
You know, how about so are the Charlotte Hornets? They're really good too. I'm telling you, they've had a good surge here in the NBA as well. A lot of these NBA NBA analysts are really high on Charlotte. Just keep your eye open for them. They're at 500 at the moment. Got the 10 slot in the Eastern Conference. And you mentioned the Hawks too. They're 6 games over 500 in the 8 spot. You know, Gurn, I don't know anything about gentlemen's clubs in Atlanta. It's been a while since I walked into one. The last one I can remember going into was the night the Braves beat the Cleveland Indians to win the World Series title. You got in free with a Braves ticket stub. Me and another friend of mine that you know of as well, and his little brother rolled in there and celebrated the Braves winning the World Series title. That place is no longer in business anymore. I understand they had some tax issues that they couldn't get straightened out. But boy, back in the day, it was a lively place.
Yeah, but NBA, you know, this is the dog time. This is where the Final Four, NCAA March Madness just takes over, and the NBA just kind of fades to the background for now. And I mean, this, as you know, I am a hardcore basketball fan, and these 2 weeks are to me better than Masters Week, better than Super Bowl week if you're a football fan. I mean, this is just where you go on overdrive watching hoops, and it's all good. And maybe I think I'm feeling it again on Thursday. One thing we can be looking at are what are going to be our upset games, our 5-12s, our 4-13s, because they happen. They happen just about every year. You know they're going to happen. And who are those what games are those going to be, at the end of the day, that you're talking about at like 5 o'clock on a Thursday or a Friday that just happened, and you're like, oh my God, can you believe fill in the blank is not going to make it to the second round?
Yeah, and you try to forecast that. I just don't think you can. I think that's one of the special things about the tournament. How many people you think are going to say, well, Hofstra's going to beat Alabama. They're out without Aiden Holloway. You might get a few of those. And I know we have the 15 beat the 2 once in a blue moon. But to me, that's might be one of the hardest things in sports to predict is some team. And I know there's a lot of teams out there that might be undervalued or not as recognized as much because, you're watching Duke and Kansas and, North Carolina and all those teams all the time. And some of these Cinderellas that can get on a run, you just don't. But I couldn't tell you. I'm sure there's some college basketball purists out there that could tell you some of these teams you better watch out for.
Well, John, here's my. I like to wax poetic about history, and here's my story from the past. I was either a second-year law student, and the regionals, first round was in Nashville. So we got tickets. We had pretty good tickets. Usually we sat behind the bench for Vandy games, but we were sitting kind of on the 50-yard line, upper, kind of low, really good seats. And I got 4 tickets, added a couple. We had 6 of us sitting there. And, it was the first round game. First game of the day. Nobody was really caring. It was Oklahoma was the number 1 seed, and they were playing the number 16 seed, which was East Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Keith Mr. Jennings was the guard. And I don't think a 1 had ever lost to a 16 at that point. We've had Virginia lose since then, but a 1 had never lost to a 16. And Wayman Tisdale was playing for Oklahoma, and Keith Mr. Jennings just schooled Oklahoma down to the end with a lead. And right in the end, Oklahoma came back and won the game. So I was on the cusp of the potential first 116, and it just didn't happen. But I want to say they're either the Pirates or the Buccaneers from ETSU took Oklahoma. Flyer.
ETSU.
Well, East Carolina.
Yeah, East Carolina's the Pirates, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe they're the Tigers. I can't remember. ETSU.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was one of those magical moments that just the Cinderella didn't come through at the end.
Yeah. There again, we're gonna see them. And Jim Nantz and the crew's going to go crazy. Oh, look at this team. They upset Goliath, world beaters. I just can't tell you who they're going to be right now. And I know there's some hot teams that you don't know about. Like San Diego State. They beat Alabama a couple of years. Is that the team that beat them in the Final Four?
Yeah, they went to the final. No, they went to the Final Four. And yeah, maybe they beat them in the final. They were a hell of a team. And one of their best guards is now a starter at Houston. I mean, so he moved on. What'll be interesting to see in this new era of NIL and transfer portal is that watch who the studs are at these small schools.
Oh,
and then watch for where they end up next year with a contract.
Sure.
So they're going to show out. And if they pop somebody a big name for 27, then it'll be interesting. And you see that. You'll see the movement. You see people from North Dakota State end up at Alabama because they have a big game in the NCAAs. You see guys all over the place make movement. So.
Well, there again, I'm looking forward to it. Not so much the NIT, and I know I've been dumping on it. But I do want it for the record, based on Auburn's situation, in the way that Bruce was lobbying and politicking to get his boys' team into the NCAA tournament, They didn't take their ball and go home and have their lip poked out. They said, okay, we'll play in the NIT. Do you think the NIT committee tipped Auburn off to say, listen, we want you in, we want you to host, and by the way, you're playing South Alabama? Now, Auburn's a huge favorite, but, I mean, I wonder if Auburn was caught by surprise, or do you think they knew that before they accepted?
So they didn't have to tell them who they were playing. They could expect it to be a South or somebody like that. They're a number one seed in their region. So there are 4 regions in the NIT, and they're a number one seed. So they know they're going to play the lowest seed in their region, and it's going to be somebody local. So they know they're going to host. They know they're going to host if they win the first 2 games. So that all, and then I think it's 2 games, and then they play an on-site game between the higher the seeds, and then it goes to New York. I can't remember exactly how it plays out, but it's something like that. And so they know they're going to host. They're number one seed. They know they're going to host. I wonder if Oklahoma didn't get a 1 seed and wasn't assured of hosting it past the first round.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at it and you're like, so Auburn knows they can get, they should beat South. They're going to be favored in the second round. And so that, and then they could possibly host one more. And so that there's a real, and then there's excitement to go to New York or wherever they're playing. I don't know if they go to New York or Indianapolis. They changed it, or Vegas.
I was kind of, I was curious that South Alabama even made the NIT. I mean, they finished 6th in their division in the Sun Belt Conference. They did have a pretty good overall record at 21-11. They lost their last 2 games, 11-7 in conference in the Sun Belt. I mean, I'm just asking, is that worthy of a Sun Belt invitation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it. All right, so they're playing. It's a 32-team tournament. So their finals are in Indianapolis.
Okay.
So you play, I think you're 32. All right, so you play 2. Auburn should host 2 home games, and they will. And then if they win both, they'll host another game against a higher seed team, and then they'll get to 4. They'll go 32, 16, 8, 4, and that'll be in Indianapolis. Which, look, that's a great place to watch a game. Great place to be. It's easy to get to. Look, I think it's all positives. So I know we're up for a break, but I think it's a positive. I see nothing but pluses for Auburn in this.
Well, I've got my feelings about the NIT, but as I just explained the situation with Auburn, I think it is a better look than if they would have taken their ball and gone home. But if you win the NIT, do you hoist the flag up in the arena and roll Toomer's Corner? Is it really that big of a deal? I don't know. That's for other people to determine. All right, when we get back, do need to take a quick break. It is the Gurn Junior Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Don't know what the topics are. We will have not seen them. We will see them for the first time, just as you will. We'll go through them. We'll try to decipher them. And we can't tell you if there's any topics involving animals. Usually there are. I know they're fan favorites for our viewers and listeners.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. That's right.
We can only hope.
Back with more right after this. Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Hey, where's the beer guy? Bud Light here? You get a Bud Light? Bud Light? I'm here, Bud Light. Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light where? Bud Light here? Oh, Bud Light there. I missed that because of you. You did not miss that play because of me. Tough to stop talking this way? Yeah. It's actually kind of fun. Hey, I got your Bud Light. Oh, nice. Never mind. Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light. What I miss? I have no idea.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
All right, about 10 minutes until the top of the hour here today. Quickly let you know, tomorrow CJ Duncan's not going to be able to join us tomorrow. He's got something he's taken care of, so we completely understand. He'll join us the next week after taking tomorrow off. I will tell you this, though. We have a special 8 a.m. guest tomorrow. She finished 7th in the ESPN Tournament Bracket Challenge last year out of millions and millions and millions of entries. As you can imagine, ESPN has a lot of people that get in on their Tournament Bracket Challenge. She finished 7th when it was all said and done. She happens to be my daughter. She was on the show multiple times last year as we tracked her progress through the bracket. And she'll kind of give you a couple of pointers and some teams that she has selected this year for the bracket challenge to see if she can top her 7th place finish from last year. She'll join us at the top of hour 2. Also, Josh Harris, the Moneyline Magician. Theotis, I know you're excited about that. Mark it down. Bottom of hour number 2 tomorrow. And Barry will be back with us tomorrow from Oklahoma City. All right. I see the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel in the green room warming up. You see the 6 topics that are up for today. Gurn Sr., what do you say we take a stab at it? There it goes.
I'm looking at it. I'm trying to forgive me, Father. I'm nervous.
What could this be about? No.
We got an Episcopal priest.
Wait a minute. What'd he do?
He went and bought trading cards.
Wait a minute.
My gosh, a priest
with
Pittsburgh.
funds in the offering plate? I mean, what'd he do here?
He stole more than 1,000 of baseball trading cards. I guess the question, though, if you had to ask, is what cards were they? Were they good cards? I mean, if it was like a Gunnar Henderson rookie card, I could understand that.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I mean, that's it's crazy. I will say, I was listening to a speaker on Sirius yesterday talking about trading cards, the whole industry and everything else, and what you do. And it's bigger than the memorabilia. The cards are much bigger. Pokemon cards are huge. The whole trading aspects of those and these shows, and a lot depends on how they're graded and all that kind of other good stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's fascinating stuff.
I see he was arrested in a Walmart. I didn't know Walmart had trading cards, but hate that for him. Tough stuff.
They've got everything. Walmart's got everything. All right, spin it to win it.
Yep, 5 more to go. Let's see what we got. Victoryland, where you can be a winner too. Exit 22 off 85, Shorter, Alabama. Bad offer. Huh.
Oh, all right. I saw this, John. Yaxel Lindenberg is from UAB. Okay. Last year, he was UAB's best player.
Yep.
So he got offered anywhere from $7 to $8 million to play at Kentucky this year.
Man.
And he instead went to Michigan. I don't know what he signed for. he probably signed. It doesn't. I don't know if it says exactly, but he signed for less. Okay, but he's also on a number 1 seed team, and Kentucky sucks. I can say that after watching them in person last week.
They do, and they spent a ton of money on their roster. Why do they suck?
They spent $22 million and got the team they've got, and they don't even run a basic offense. They just kind of one-on-one it with a couple of pick and rolls.
Yeah.
So it was that's interesting. And this dude, he's a dude too. He'll be a very good pro in the league next year or the year after. I mean, I guess he'll stay as long as I can't remember what year he is, but he is damn good. All right.
Wow, it's a ton of money. Wow. How much you think Aiden Holloway was making in Tuscaloosa? I mean,
I don't think he's making $1 million, but I bet he's making high 6 figures.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Bucket. It's like my hat. Here we go.
Oh.
All right, do we get this? We got a visual
here, so it looks like a lab there, maybe.
Got a couple of rescue dogs. Okay. I bet he gets his head stuck.
Yeah.
What do you think? There it is. He got his head stuck in the bucket.
Come on.
You know, I hate to say this, Gurn Jr., but if there wasn't a white underbelly to that dog, that could be Chakalaka Ding Dong, which is our family mutt.
Yeah.
So, he got it.
So Eric Bowman there. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So
that reminds me of the joke you're talking about your dad when he would tell you the one about why do you ask 2 dogs?
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, there's nothing like a dog with his head in the bucket. Sometimes you wake up and you feel like that too.
You got that right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right.
All right. Spin it to win it.
Yep. 3 more to go. Let's see what we got. Blue, red, yellow.
Victoryland 777.
Got
your back.
Got your back. Oh, what could this be? Got your back.
Oh, Justin Fields. You talking about somebody who had all the world in his hand.
No kidding.
And you guess what? If he goes to be the backup in KC, that's not a bad gig.
Not at all. Totally agree.
He sits there for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And if the starter gets hurt, he gets to pop in. He's a good quarterback. He's not great, but you never know. He could learn something. Yeah, I mean, to me, obviously you want to be the starter, but that's a great career move.
Yeah.
Because Mahomes, I don't know, what's Mahomes got left? 2 or 3 years, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, 3 years, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
He's still playing at a very high level.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good – and plus he might pick up a ring.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I'm not as high on the Chiefs. I'm hearing a lot about the Rams in the offseason. The LA Rams making a lot of moves. Watch out for them. Yeah. All right, 2 more to go. Blue and red's what we got left on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. What is the next topic we will explore?
Racing around. Oh, they did Indy. They did Indy around was that?
Yeah, in Dallas, around the Cowboys and the Rangers.
Jerry World? They're doing racing at Jerry World?
It kind of looks that way.
Wow.
Man.
So Gurn Jr. and I were out in Las Vegas, and they have an Indy race there through Vegas, just like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe it. And we were there, I don't know, a month or 2 before, and they were already setting up the course.
Wow.
Can you imagine what it takes to set those courses up in the city? And they do it. Nashville's had them. Miami has them.
They're going to have one in D.C. for the 4th of July.
Super popular. And obviously the sponsorship money is out the roof if they're spending the money to set these courses up.
And I think, Gurn, they transport these cars on specially designed 747s and fly them to all these locations. It is amazing. A lot of money going into it. But the thing about that type of auto racing, once you get the lead, I mean, you don't see anybody passing in that sport.
Well, that's higher than my knowledge level. I will say this, though. It's big in the U.S., very big, very popular, huge internationally.
Yep.
huge internationally. I mean, that's, so you see the cars, and I've got a client that has a car in there, and they do quite well, the Honda car. And so, it's real. And Mercedes does it as well. So, big fan of Indy style F1 and all that. All right.
Last
I know
one.
what this is. I'm very excited about this.
Let's see what we got here.
I am super
Sonics
excited.
are back.
They're taking a
the
vote.
NBA.
They're taking a vote, and they're trying to approve 2 new teams. Okay. Obviously, Seattle got screwed when the Sonics went to OKC, but they're trying to get the Sonics back to Seattle. But the bigger issue, John, is, do you know where the other team's supposed to go?
Vegas.
Las Vegas. Now, Gurn, if you could highlight, I don't know if it shows in there what they're talking about the franchise fee being. They're talking like $7 to $8 billion. There it is, $7 billion to $10 billion range for each team. $7 to $10 billion for a team. And you got to come up, and you have to own, I think there's a percentage that an individual has to own, or an individual group.
Yep.
It has to be the majority owner. So you got to have a net worth of 4, 5, 6 to be the majority owner on that. And so, of course, I bet you'll probably see some of the tech type guys and things like that who have significant wealth, and I don't know about a casino for Las Vegas, but somebody that you'll see be the ownership of.
That's a lot of cash.
They've got a good place to play in Las Vegas. And, and so
the Thomas and Mack Arena.
I'll say I hadn't been to Vegas in many years. From an athletic standpoint, and the facilities and and the way to get around and the hotels, and then they in Henderson, they've got some great facilities for smaller events. So they've got it going on from a hospitality standpoint.
They know how to do it. You're right.
All right, John.
Hey, we appreciate it as always. I know you're going to be back with us on Thursday while Barry's calling the Troy game facing Nebraska. Barry will be back with us tomorrow. We appreciate you hopping on yesterday and today.
I'll send you a bill.
Hey, please do. Hey, tomorrow we're back at it. Make sure you join us as well. Thanks for everybody. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Longshore McKnight. We are back tomorrow.